What does it mean to be fit? We'll ask an expert on this episode of the MindDog TV digital broadcast. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged. This episode is brought to you by FundWise Capital. FundWise Capital is a business lender matching platform. Avoid the mystery of one-sided deals and connect with FundWise to get the very best funding you can qualify for fast. You can apply online in 60 seconds or less, and there's no effect to your credit to see how much you can get. It's easy. Use the funding for anything you need to start or grow your business. You did hear me correctly. I did say start or grow your business. If you don't have a business yet, but you got a solid business plan, they can help you get funding. Get the best funding you can qualify for. Their strategic lender matching platform searches through hundreds of lenders to find the very best possible option for your unique situation. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews on Google, Trustpilot, and Facebook, and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They provide unsecured lines of credit at 0% interest for 9 to 15 months. Unsecured term loans, loans based on income, short-term gap funding, and bridge loans. They work with real estate, startups like I already mentioned, franchises, restaurants, any kind of business, any kind of project. To get started, it's really easy. Just go to apply.fundwise.com/MindDog. That's apply.fundwise.com/MindDog. Get money for your business now. Apply.fundwise.com/MindDog.
Is everybody ready for the MindDog, the magnificent show?
Ready is a relative term.
Start the clock!
And welcome, my friends, to yet another episode of the MindDog digital TV broadcast. Wow, I said that wrong. See, here's the thing. I've been saying podcast for 6 years, and I'm sick of saying podcast because I don't want to be called a podcaster anymore. We are on the radio primarily and live streaming on many, many networks, and apparently more networks than I was aware of tonight. That's one of the things that kind of set me off a little bit too. But it just doesn't roll off the tongue. Digital broadcast, MindDog TV digital broadcast, not MindDog TV podcast anymore. We're rebranding. But I'm not used to it yet, so I screwed that up. Forgive me. Tonight, we're going to talk about fitness and what fitness means, and we're going to talk about Fitzness with an expert. Fitzness is a play on words. The proprietor of Fitzness.com is Fitz Kohler. She is noisy, bossy, compelling, and is among the most prominent fitness experts and race announcers in America, with a master's degree in exercise and sports scientist and decades of experience teaching fitness worldwide. She's also a cancer survivor and an author with books including Cancer Comeback series, which includes My Noisy Cancer Comeback. Just take me out. Running at the mouth while running for my life, your healthy cancer comeback, sick to strong, healthy cancer comeback journal. She's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome in Fitz Kohler. Fitz, welcome. I'm sorry for that terrible introduction, but
it was better than I deserve, Matt. Thank you for having me.
So the question comes up often when I talk to fitness experts and fitness experts is, what does it really mean to be fit? Now, I just want to preface this with, my brother has had cancer for 40 years, still alive. He's in better shape than I am, and doctors look at him like, how are you surviving? He feels great. He looks great, but he's got cancer. So I'm thinking you can be very unhealthy and still be fit. That's
well, you know what? It doesn't sound like your brother is unhealthy. There's so many people that are living long and living well with cancer, thanks to the incredible pharmaceuticals and treatment plans these medical professionals have come up with, and the researchers. So yeah, I host the Donna National Marathon to Finish Breast Cancer every February, and we have hundreds of breast cancer crushers come out and run, people who have had cancer or are living with it at the moment. And I mean, this year we had one of our fastest athletes in the middle of chemotherapy. So you can be super fit with cancer. And that's one of the things I strive to convince people that they can pursue exercise and nutrition and complementary care to help. It's about controlling what you can when you can. And yeah, I was there. I was dragged behind a horse for 15 months with my treatment. It was hard, but I did it. It's doable for most of us. I mean, and I obviously we lose so many wonderful people to cancer. It's brutal. But you started by asking me, what is it to be fit? And I believe it's a body that performs well and feels great. That's as simple, stupid as I can make it.
That's a difficult one because there are moments for me. There are moments of the day when that applies, and there are moments of the day when it doesn't apply. You know what? I think a lot of it, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this. A lot of it is mindset. You can talk yourself into feeling crappy, even though you're physically well. uh,
Yeah, I mean, some people just choose to be miserable. Some people choose to look at the dark side. Some people choose to make excuses all day and complain and never get jack done because they're so full of themselves and all the I can'ts in the world. But then there's some people that are committed to finding a way. Those that will say, I will figure out a way to exercise. I refuse to put crap in my body, or I'm not, I may not be perfect, but I'm not eating garbage. I'm never going to be reckless about it. And my body is going to live up to a certain standard no matter what, no matter whether my house burns down or whether my kids keep me super busy or my job is in the busy season. I am committed to this body. And so, yeah, mindset goes a long way. Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
Right. So now I just have to say, my wife would say that I fit that description of the chronic complainer and the guy who's always saying,
Poor girl.
yeah. But um, she also is an enabler of my defeatism because she talks about she doesn't want me doing things that she feels like yesterday mowing the lawn. And we do have a huge piece of property, hilly and all that stuff. And I'm 65 years old, and
Mhm.
I have to say that 'cause I'm 64. I'll be 65 in a couple of months. Um, but she's always like, you shouldn't do that, don't do that. And I'm like, well, I do it, and I have to do it. I can't just lay down and die. But then I will complain about how I'm winded and all that kind of stuff, and I'm feeling out of shape. So I don't know, it's
So
part.
so let me do this. Let me give you this advice. I want you to remind your wife that Brad Pitt is 60 and have her look at him and know what 60s what's the possibility at 60,
I
and
don't
you're
want
not
her
so
looking
far
at
off
him.
from that. So
I don't
maybe
want her looking at him and comparing me.
baby step your way towards Brad Pitt, but totally doable. It's not about being what you were in high school, and it's not about being perfect overnight, but it's about moving in that direction. And if you can't mow the lawn, then for crying out loud, it's probably not gonna get any easier, right? You've got plenty of years left, Matt. We hope, and I know your wife wants to keep you around for a very long time. So, mowing the lawn is bare minimum right now. And if
Right.
she disagrees, have her call me.
I thank you for that. I just don't want to looking at pictures of very attractive men.
Ha!
Uh,
You're
uh,
pretty attractive yourself, Matt.
well, thank you for that. Thank you for lying. I appreciate that. But let's, because my whole life I was pretty much a gym rat. I was very much into weights.
Good.
55 years old. Long story short, me and my brother were convinced that 55 was our number because my father was one of 17 children, 14 male. All the males in my family died at 55. So we were convinced 55 was our number. And at 55, I injured myself really bad with a lower back injury and haven't been really the same since. And trying to get back to exercising has been torture in the way that I was used to exercising. So now we go for walks and stuff. Feels like weak and tame for me to walk a mile and a half or walk 2 miles in a night just doesn't feel like I'm really exercising. And I notice I've gotten more body fat. But the question is like coming back from an injury, and there are lots of excuse making and all that
Yeah.
stuff involved in that. I will grant you that.
So I've
But
got answers for you, and we can both agree that we've seen people come back from way worse, right? Like maybe they've been run over by a bus or kicked off a horse, and they're coming back. And so
right, I
many
feel
people that,
bad talking to a cancer survivor
well,
talking about my sciatica.
hey, everybody's got something, right? But
Right.
we've seen people that have been completely mangled in some sort of accidents, and then they rebuild their body, and then they go do Ironman triathlon, or they climb Mount Everest, right? So we know that the thing you're dealing with is probably overcomable. It's just about taking the proper steps. And so I would say that probably starts with a physical therapist. That's a medically savvy personal trainer that says, you know what, Matt, the reason your back still hurts is you're really weak right here and you're really tight right here. And so let me show you how to get stronger in this place and more flexible over there. And that'll get rid of the pain. But without that person pointing you in the right direction, you're just floundering. You're just going to sit around and be hurt. Maybe worse, you're going to ask your doctor for some muscle relaxers or anything that's just going to tank every other part of your body, not only your mind, but your digestive system. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So you got to just know where to start. And it sounds like for you, it's a physical therapist.
That
And
makes perfect sense. Let me just run this past you, because my whole life, core has been an issue. Stomach, basically the core, the abs and all that stuff has been an issue since I can remember. 5 years old, 6 years old. Sit-ups were always extremely difficult for me. Crunches were extremely difficult for me. And it's always been. So the question I'm leading to, is there like a body type that where some certain exercises are right for you, and is it like body type?
you know what? I wouldn't say so unless you have some sort of genetic disorder, right? There's some people that have these really severe things, and okay, maybe they're an anomaly, they're a special case, but your abdominal muscles work just like everybody else's. And so it's just maybe you have to put more effort in. It's funny, we see some folks that aren't exercising yet they're ripped. Good
Right.
for them. I mean, good for them, right? They've got these six-pack abs and these curvy muscles, and they claim not to exercise. Okay, they're gifted. Perhaps somebody needs a little more effort to get to that average mark. So you might be the guy who just has to put in overtime on your area of weakness, and so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. You're not learning to walk from paralysis. You're just having to put in a little more time and effort doing planks and crunches and core training. That's a fair burden to bear, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is this, because I've going back again. I'm old, so the mantra "no pain, no gain" was a part
You
of.
should not have pain. You should not have
Right.
pain. You should struggle, but you should not have pain.
Well, sit-ups have always been painful to me, but so have all the. If
And what are they painful for? Where do you
what do
feel
you,
the pain?
where do I feel the pain?
Yeah.
In the stomach. Where?
Okay. Okay. Well, there's other things you could do. Planks.
Right.
You
But
could.
I've always felt like this part of definitely is the thing that needs the most work. My entire life, even when I was like, I got the Golden Adonis Award in 1980.
Nice.
But even then, always had like, I know it could be stronger here
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff.
It's
And I always felt like that was my Achilles heel. My core was always going to be that way, no matter
well,
how hard I worked at it.
the simple solution to that is just stay with it, keep at it, work harder.
Willpower, yeah. So I was going to get to willpower and where that comes in, because besides exercise, let me just start by asking you this rather than saying this.
Okay.
I feel like exercise with bad diet is not going to be good for you, and perfect diet without exercise is also it just doesn't. It can be negative if you're doing those things. If you eat great but just sit around and become a lump, it's the same. Both of them are both exercise and diet are necessary.
They are necessary, and they are two separate things. I mean, imagine you brush your teeth but you never floss, or you
Right.
floss your teeth and you never brush. You're going to end up with cavities either way. And so of course you need to do both. I don't know, let's say you wash and wax your car, you bring it to the mechanic all the time, yet every time you add gasoline, you're also adding a bunch of ketchup into the tank. It's eventually going to corrode that car from the inside. If you give your car perfect gasoline and oil and all the fluids that go in your car, and you're nourishing it well, yet you bump into things and your tires you roll over nails, I mean, you have to do both. And so it's very fascinating to me how many people say, well, I'm going to start exercising when I lose weight. I think,
Yeah.
Dumb. That's not the right answer. Or I'm going to start eating right after I exercise for a while. It's no, just start doing better. Too many people are looking for quick fixes. There is no such thing. There's 0 things that will get you to the fit, fabulous body you want tomorrow. So much like learning a language, you don't dive right into your first Russian class and become fluent. You say, okay, I'm going to learn 3 words today, 3 words the next day, and keep building on that. And so fitness starts really small. It's not just about walking. It's 4 pillars of fitness. In order to have a fit body, you are required to be proficient in 4 areas. That's strength, total body strength, cardiovascular fitness, flexibility, and balance. And without any one of those pillars of fitness, you're not fit. So you have to pursue each at some level. You don't have to be the most flexible person on earth or the marathon runner. You just have to have your body capable of going a certain distance, right? You have to be able to huff and puff for a while without passing out. You need to be able to pick yourself off the ground, lift your grandchildren, climb up a hill with strong legs. And you need to be able to have mobility, flexibility without being able to move your joints in their full range of motion. You're more likely to have sprains, strains, and tears. And then balance. And the reason we work on balance is so you don't fall down. And even if you're super fit, but you have no balance, if you're constantly eating concrete, that's not good for your body. So you pair that with great nutrition, not diets, not keto, not intermittent fasting, not any of this ridiculous garbage temporary fixes. What you do is you start saying, okay, I learned this thing in kindergarten. I learned about produce. I learned about lean protein. I learned about lean dairy sources, and I'm going to have some of that. And you know what? I might have a few Doritos or I might have a beer once in a while. But for the most part, the things I put in my body are going to be pretty good stuff. And eventually you have moved in that direction you want to be.
Well, if you haven't gotten the gist of my intent here, it's really all about me and how I can get better.
Every excuse you give me, Matt, I've got an answer to.
No,
So
I'm glad to take it. But I wanted to ask you. I wanted to continue on the diet thing, but you just talked about balance, and this is a thing that has haunted me my entire life too. And maybe it's a limiting belief system that I have. That there are, again, coming back to body types, there are people who are naturally balanced and graceful, grace and balance, like the dancer's ability. And there are people like me who are just born like really with weird proportions. And I mean that legs, feet, balance. I think the people with bigger feet have better balance. I do think that. And I was born with very small feet. I've always felt like balance is something that doesn't come naturally. And you said work on balance. I'm just wondering, how do you work on balance? Nobody's ever educated me on working on balance.
Okay, so I'm gonna move you around, Matt. I know you're sitting in your fancy broadcast chair, but I want you to stand up. Okay, so
I'm wearing pajama pants.
I love that. Good.
You want me to stand?
Stay there. Good. Now stand on one foot.
It doesn't matter which one.
Doesn't matter. I don't care. Just stand there. Yeah, 1 foot. And if you're listening at home, stand on one foot.
Look.
Good. So that right there is your balance training. Look, you're doing a good job. You're wobbling, but
I am wobbling.
But you're still upright. And it's that wobble that lets me know that you're making progress. So standing on one foot is fantastic balance training. Now we're going to elevate it. So go back to your strongest leg, whatever leg you feel most confident on.
I think this one, right?
1 foot. Good. Now close your eyes, Matt.
Whoa.
Okay.
The minute I do, it's like I'm taking the sobriety test.
Perfect. So right there is your balance training. Make your eyes open again. And now just flap your arms up and down like a bird. More balance training. So you can go have a seat. You can go ahead and have a seat, but balance training is essential for everybody. Lack of balance and falls is one of the most heartbreaking reasons that we lose our parents and our grandparents, because they have taken a spill and they do not recover. And so balance training is actually the easiest form of fitness training. You can do it while you're brushing your teeth, while you're on the phone, while you're cooking dinner. You just stand on 1 foot. And if you're wobbling, that means you're making progress. So there are gauges to either we're doing what we can already do, or we're getting better. We're doing something that challenges us to make us better. So if we're doing cardiovascular exercise, it's that huffing and puffing. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it right. That means you're challenging your heart and your lungs. If you're doing strength training, when you lift a resistance that makes you grunt, right there, that tells me you're doing something to make you stronger. When you're doing flexibility training, when you're stretching and you get to that point where you wince, there you go. That's where you're getting more flexible. And when you're doing balance training, when you start wobbling and your hips and your knees and your ankles start adjusting, that tells me you are improving your balance. And so what I just told you to do right there, you could do that 10 times throughout the day. And all of a sudden, standing on one foot won't be challenging. You'll be able to stand on one foot for 60 seconds without a problem. And that's when you start closing your eyes.
Thank you for that. I'm not just saying this. I am going to practice that every day. Also, I mean, you brought some levity to. So first time I stood up and people saw that I'm not wearing actual pads.
Oh, my lower body's all weird too, Matt. I don't have anything good on today.
Okay. Now, before we move on, Stephen Ortiz, who is a comedian who's on my morning show, he's wheelchair bound. He says, I can't stand on two legs, let alone one. He has no use of his legs. Okay. I don't know. Balance, is that?
Okay. I'm so happy. Like as if this could have been planned. So, Stephen, there are a million things you can do in a chair. And so you mentioned it. I have this book, Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, Sick to Strong. And what's very interesting is not only is this helping cancer patients, but I have people with MS and Parkinson's who are saying, hey, I picked up your book. The guidance is relevant to me too. So, and the Everything Exercise chapter, there are dozens and dozens of photos of exercises that you can do sitting in a chair. And then there's the same thing, dozens of exercises that you can do lying in bed. And so, Stephen, I'm so sorry that your legs aren't cooperating. I'm really sorry that your lower body's not cooperating. But what you should do is be aggressive with the body parts that will cooperate and make sure they are as strong as humanly possible. I'm sure you have to do a lot of extra work with your upper body, not only pushing the chair, but hoisting yourself onto beds and onto different surfaces and so forth. So yeah, get a great workout in a chair. And if your legs can do exercises while you're sitting, then you should. Oh, that makes me so happy. Stephen Ortiz, it's Your Healthy Cancer Comeback. I hope you never, ever, ever have cancer, but this book will be handy dandy for you too.
Very cool stuff. He's got the most positive attitude of any human being I've ever really known.
I want to be best friends with Stephen. Hopefully he and I will connect. Stephen, find me and say hi.
He said, yes, ma'am. Anyway, so yeah, I appreciate that. And I will practice the balancing stuff. You know what? I've probably been... to be honest, somebody did teach me about balance when I was a kid in school. We did that exercise, but I never knew I was learning balance stuff then. And but it definitely brought my awareness to, well, this could actually work for me.
Well, you know what, Matt? This isn't the sexy stuff, right? People are always looking for abs. What do I do to get sexy abs or sexy arms or a curvy butt, whatever it is? But when you're falling down, and you might not be falling down today when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, but 60, 70, 80, people start eating it. And that is not good. And I mean, it is tragic how many of our grownups, right? Our beloved grownups die 5-10 years earlier because they took a spill. And we can prevent that. And that effort starts today. Don't wait until you're 80 to start working on your balance. I mean, if you're already 80, fine, you are where you are. But right now, this is a simple thing you can do. And it's about preservation.
Very cool. I really appreciate this. Yeah. Now, again, it's all about me getting better and improving my health. One of the things I've struggled with my entire life, it's coming back to diet, is sugar and the addiction to sugar. Yeah. And it's like to the point where it's stronger than a heroin addiction or any kind of other addiction. It's like I tried to give it up and gone cold turkey and went out of my mind, became a homicidal maniac. Didn't kill anybody, but felt like a homicidal maniac. I tried, tapering off, all that kind of stuff. It comes down to willpower. The question I'm building to is the difference between rationally knowing that this is bad for you and battling the cravings for it constantly. What do you have for that?
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of cold turkey on almost anything besides drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and animal products if you love animals, right? So that's a place where you can say, no, never, I'm not going to have animals. But sugar it comes in a lot of healthy products. I think it's great to have sugar from strawberries and blueberries and raspberries and bananas. That's the good kind of sugar that we should not fear. And on occasion we get these quote unquote nutrition coaches, and they are not qualified and they are not registered dietitian, and they tell people do not have fruit because it's got sugar. And I just think, you moron, the second you start telling people don't have a raspberry, you have shown your true colors. You have shown what a hack you are. So A, all sugar is not bad, and B, moderation. So if anybody tells you you're never to have a piece of cake again or a piece of cookie, I think it's absurd. If somebody says, don't eat white stuff, I think, really? You're never going to have a piece of pizza ever again? That's absurd. So instead of cold turkey, less. I can't imagine you're sitting at your desk with gummy bears all day. Just
No,
gummy
you know
bears
what?
and juice.
I'll be honest with you. It's cranberry juice, which is 100% cranberry juice and 100% grape juice almost all day long,
Okay.
and that's the sugar.
So you're gonna have to be a grown-up, Matt, and I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have to say, I will have 1 cup of grape juice a day, or maybe if you have a UTI issue, you want to have that cranberry juice, or you find some alternatives. There's the sugar-free cranberry juice or the sugar-free grape juice. I'm not a perfect person. I don't drink Coke ever because of the god-awful amount of sugar, but I have Diet Coke and it's decaffeinated, and it makes me happy. And on occasion, you get some of those like yoga hippies. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you drink Diet Coke. And I think, you weirdo, get a grip. 98% of my nutrition is high quality, grew from the ground, plus water. If I'm going to have a decaf Diet Coke, so be it. Perfect's boring, and perfect is a recipe for failure when it comes to fitness. So yeah, so A, you got to look at me. You got to grow up, Matt. You can't have sugar drinks all day. Find a sugar-free option, and then, commit to 40 ounces of water too. So you just simply can't ingest
Well,
all.
I have been doing. I will admit that I have been doing more water
Good.
than I did before, and I think that can be overdone too. But
Hey,
that's my. But you're not the first one to tell me I should grow up. My wife says I eat like a 12-year-old, and she's
wow,
sick.
and it sounds like she might be a little bit right, but here's the deal. I don't pull any punches when it comes to this stuff because I love you so much. I love all of you so much. And with my education, with my background, it would be derelict for me not to be pointed and honest with everybody. And I think I get away with it usually because people know I love them, right? And where someone like you may not believe your wife, you may say, honey, shut up. You're not a fitness expert. I am. I'm an actual expert in the field. And if I'm not going to tell you the truth, who is? And so hopefully you take this advice and you start altering your behavior. Don't ever feel the pressure to be perfect, but make some changes, and you should outlive those 55-year-olds in your family by a long shot.
How much? And I know this is probably not exact science, but how much does hereditary factor into who we are for lifespan and health wise and all that kind of stuff? Is there a correlation? Heredity?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have numbers to be able to give you specifics on genetics, right? But there are certainly people with defects in their heart, and they die young. Even the fittest of them all. There's some people who just have these weaknesses, and they show up. I believe pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer is genetic, and that will certainly alter your lifespan. But there is so much you can control, and that's really the thing you should focus on. It's funny. I have. I used to not want to do those DNA tests. I used to think, I'm not going to spit my DNA into a tube and send it off so my DNA is flying around. And then I had cancer, and they started taking little pieces of me, sending it all over. And I thought, well, hell, my DNA is everywhere now. I might as well have some fun looking at my ancestry. And so there was a choice between, I think it was ancestry.com that just told you who your family was and where you're from. And then there's 23andMe, and that gave you a little more information. Like, you're more prone to Alzheimer's, or you're more prone to this or that. And what I decided is, I don't really want to know that stuff. I don't want to know if I'm more prone to Alzheimer's, because the way I live my life, I'm already doing everything that I can control in my power to stave off mental health is, or not even mental health, brain health. It's not mental health because I wouldn't be crazy. I'd be losing my ability to think, right? So, I eat the walnuts, I do the exercise, I do a lot of things that help preserve my brain health. And so, yeah, there are genetics at play, but I hope the behavior that I'm exhibiting right now is just staving it all off. And that's all you can do. It's not about what they're going to tell you about your old dead people. It's about what you are doing right now to control your own destiny.
All right, that's good news because, like I said, my brother and I both bought into that we were doomed because of my father's side of the family. My mother's side of the family all lived to like 80 in mid 80s, 86, 87. So that's a different part of it. No, I'm always like, well, maybe we lucked out and got there, even though I look exactly like my father. I'm just
That's
hoping that.
okay. It's okay. It seems like you're not dying young like your father. So here
Yeah,
you go. You have surpassed that. And
I beat him by 11 years so far. So
well, let's triple that, Matt. And you do have so much control. And it's interesting how many people say, "Well, I'm obese or I'm overweight because my family's overweight. It's genetic. We're all overweight." No, it's not genetic that you're overweight. You adopted their crap habits. It's cultural. Your grandparents, your parents, they ate garbage, they ate too much, they fried foods, they had alcohol, they smoked, all that stuff. And now you're doing the same thing. So of course you have the same body type as they do because you haven't changed the behavior. And so what a lot of people blame on genetics is really cultural. It's behavior, it's family culture. And you can be the first one not to be an alcoholic or not to be a smoker or not to be an overeater. And there's no reason you can't come from a family of obese people and be a lean marathon runner, right? There's a lot of choices we have. And I always err on the side of controlling what we can.
just to support what you just said, I family of four, mother, father, brother, and me. The three of them were alcoholics and
Right.
smokers, and I don't smoke cigarettes, and I'm not an alcoholic. So what
Mhm.
you said is absolutely true. You cannot be those things. It wasn't a conscious decision by me, by the way. Well,
Yeah,
I
it
have
was.
to say smoking was because I tried it and it was not. It was just not for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I decided not to become an alcoholic. It just didn't happen, but whatever. So now moving on a little bit here, you're a fitness expert, but I don't know if you would consider yourself a cancer expert, but I think having cancer, you learn enough about it that you feel like you're an expert. But I'm going to ask you some questions
Sure.
about cancer because last week I found, or 2 weeks ago, I found a guy who was a musician doing songs, and one of his songs is I found him online doing reels and stuff. One of his songs is "Cancer," it's titled "Cancer," and right in the middle of it, he stops and goes, "But what causes it?" And then he starts playing it, and that question has been in my mind. I was a researcher in pathology for several
Um,
years, and this was part of what we were doing all the time is tracing back what the story of how the cancer began. And I don't think we're any closer now to understanding. We hear all the time everything causes cancer. Being born causes cancer. Life causes cancer. Breathing causes cancer. Water causes cancer. Sugar causes cancer. Everything under the sun causes cancer. Have you become more enlightened to the cause issue and how
yeah.
we deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of evidence to what causes cancer, and so there's a bunch of babies in the hospital with cancer, and we know they didn't do anything, bless their little hearts, right? But then
Right.
we know there's a whole bunch of people with skin cancer who baked in their sun for a good portion of their life, and I am guilty as charged. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. We used to put baby oil on, and I get my skin checked every 4 months because I know my bad behavior might lead to. Actually, it has. I've had melanoma removed from me. So we know that behavior. We know that smoking causes lung and throat and mouth, head and neck cancers. We know that certain chemicals can cause various cancers. So yeah, we do know. And clean water doesn't cause cancer. That's an exaggeration. And fresh air doesn't. But we look at cultures. We look at breast cancer in North America. 1 in 8 women have breast cancer. And in Asia, 1 in 40 women have breast cancer. And so what we're to believe is that it's environmental or nutritional. What are the difference between our cultures and theirs? And so I don't know what I did or didn't do to earn cancer. Maybe it was just a cell gone rogue, and that's what I believe. I don't really have any of the habits over the past 30 years or 20 years, I should say, that would have caused cancer. But when I was in college, I drank a lot of alcohol. Boy, did I drink a lot of alcohol in college. That could have been the thing that damaged the DNA that led to this weakness where my body was not able to turn off those cancer cells. So yeah, I mean, we do know processed meats like bacon and sausage, they are a class 1 carcinogen. That means they are right next to asbestos and cigarettes, bacon and sausage. And people, either they don't know or they don't want to listen to that because they love bacon and sausage so much. But every time you have that, it's like eating asbestos. So maybe don't do that. We know there's a lot of cancer causing agents. Beef is a class 2B carcinogen. So and the research is not hidden. It's widely available and people can look it up. There's a decent amount of that in these books. And yeah, there's behaviors that make you more likely to be diagnosed with some sort of cancer. And then there's behaviors that make you less likely to be diagnosed, and behaviors that help you defy cancer once you have it.
Got it. But now the ability to pinpoint exactly what caused your cancer, I'm not saying you, but the
Yeah.
individual's cancer. I live in an area where breast cancer is I believe this is still true, that we have the highest rate of breast cancer in the country. But the supposed causes of that have been cell phone towers, they've been electromagnetic stuff. And those could play a part in it. But I heard you talk about bacon. Long Island is the king of bacon, egg, and bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches in the morning. So there's all sorts of things that could be contributing to it. And to ask everybody to avoid everything that is on that list is like, it's almost impossible.
Well, let me ask you this. Do we want to avoid asbestos?
Yes.
Cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. Alcohol is a carcinogen. Would it be ideal if people didn't drink?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is bacon necessary?
Of course.
No. So there's the thing. That's
why drinking. I didn't think.
Yeah, bacon. So that's why colon cancer is on the rise. Is all of these processed meats, and when people hear, "Oh, bacon is a class 1 carcinogen," it's like eating asbestos. They go, "I just don't want to know that," and I'm going to keep having bacon 5 times a week or 3 times a week. And we all make our choices in the world, but when you wake up one day to a doctor that says, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but you've got colon cancer," then you think, crap.
Yeah.
I wish I would have not eaten all the bacon, right? So it's about controlling what you can. You don't have to be perfect, but maybe you have bacon once a month versus every weekend, right? There's just doing better and being
Well, let me just say, when you said drinking, I was thinking water, and I thought, because in the back of my mind, we have a dangerously bad water table here. Even though it's community water, it's not well water, but it's full of carcinogens, and it's not good. So we use, of course, we're using bottled water and water coolers and all that stuff. But even that stuff, you never know. And my wife has become a very gardening savvy and eating fresh foods and all that kind of stuff. But we're growing it in the ground that produces really bad water here, and we're so all of that stuff. It's like it feels like a trap, like you can't get away from it. If the water is bad, then the food is going to be bad, and it's just like an endless trap. I know that I've seen that, and I'm becoming that negative naysayer that we talked about earlier on. But
you know what? It's not a lost cause. I mean, you may, if that's true, if that were my family living in a place with nasty water, we would not be there anymore. We would make the choice. We would control our location. We would move. We would do our live broadcast from somewhere else, from a place with clean water. And so it still comes down to choosing, right?
I'll bring that up to my wife tonight after the show, and there's a chance I won't be on the morning show. There's a good chance I won't be.
I'll miss you.
I might be dead in the morning. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, better than dying from that nasty water, right?
Right. So can we talk a little bit about your battle and recovery with it? I'm assuming you were more fit than most people when you were diagnosed. So that's an advantage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little synopsis is in 2019, February, 6 weeks after a sparkling clean mammogram, I got out of the shower at a running race weekend and I rubbed my under boob. I had an itch and I found a lump. It was, the doctors describe it as a grape. I thought it was more like a bean, but they said it was a grape-sized lump. And I instantly made the appointments. And within a week, I had a meeting with a doctor, followed by a mammogram and an ultrasound and a punch biopsy. And I got that phone call from a surgeon that said, Fitz, I'm so sorry, but you do indeed have breast cancer. It's already spread to your lymph nodes. It's running through you like wildfire. And we need to treat you urgently and aggressively. And so they did. I had 15 months of chemotherapy, which is a god-awful amount of chemotherapy, a very long time. I had 33 rounds of radiation and some surgery. And, you know, going into it, for certain, my physical health helped in many ways, and not only my body, but helped my mind. You know, once I became under the weight of cancer, that stress is like no other. It's inordinate. It's impossible to describe how stressful it is, to the fear and the unknown that goes along with cancer. So I used exercise as a outlet to get rid of those toxic feelings. But also, you know, if you go into any sort of crisis, would you rather be built like John Cena or Mick Jagger?
Yeah, I will definitely want to be in shape. If it's a
Yeah,
battle I have to face, I want to be in shape for it, no matter what. Yeah.
absolutely. So, you know, whether you get hit by a bus, struck by lightning, or you get diagnosed with a disease, if you are strong and fit going into that crisis, you are so much more likely to stave off the nasty side effects and recover more efficiently. So my worst side effect through the whole thing is I was violently sick. I was think food poisoning every day for 15 months. It just never ended for me. So it was hard, but because of my fitness and my pursuit of whatever I could do, I mean, even if it was one of those horrific days where I was stuck in bed, I was still doing leg lifts in bed. I was still stretching in the shower. I was constantly doing whatever I could, even though I couldn't do the big fun races and weightlifting and things every day that I used to be able to do. I just kept doing the things that I could. And because of that, instead of just lying in bed sick for 15 months, I traveled the country. I was still race announcing. I was still doing the keynotes. It was hard, but because of my stubbornness and my discipline and the physical strength that I did have, I was able to continue on with my life. And so it was very, very hard. There was nothing easy about it. It was scary. And you know, I chose to keep living. I believe strongly that the only people we should be isolating are people that are wildly contagious or prisoners, right? We don't take cancer patients and says, oh my God, stay in bed. Don't go out. Nobody should see you. You shouldn't see anybody. No, cancer patients should be pursuing joy with a vengeance. They should be pursuing fun and fresh air and athletic adventure and love of furry animals, right? So
Yeah.
I
Live like you're dying. That part of my when I believed I was in my last year, my 54th year. We filmed a documentary. Basically, I wanted to get everything done just in case.
yeah.
Not that I was so superstitious. I was believing that but just in case you want to make sure you. And I think even if you're not sick, you
Yeah.
should probably adopt that attitude of what, live like you're
Amen.
dying.
Amen. So interestingly, you know, during cancer, I kept going. I boarded 30 flights. I took my bald head on the road, and it was weird, and it was also very wonderful. But post cancer, even though I've always been scrappy and a gamer and up for most stuff, I am a yes person in every regard post cancer, because I do accept that life is short and now nothing seems scary and nothing seems hard. So before cancer, I had run plenty of half marathons and obstacle course races and things like that. When I finished cancer, I think it might have been about a year after my treatment, and I had lost a lot of weight. I really was at a rock bottom where I was trying to build myself up. I had someone call and invite me to run the Boston Marathon, which is, you have to either qualify to get in there with speed. It's a coveted thing to do. They said, hey, would you come run the Boston Marathon for us? And I said, okay. I mean, I was still kind of scrawny and weak, but I thought, well, it can't be any harder than 15 months of chemo. So why not? And so I did. I went and ran Boston. I just got invited this spring to do a Dancing with the Stars competition. I have zero dance background, and I chose the most vigorous dance, the jive. And then we practiced for a few months, and I performed it in front of a live audience of 600 and thousands via live stream. And, because of cancer, I thought, bring it on. Let's do this. And I had zero fear. I had zero nerves. I was only excited because I was truly living. And so I'm not a weirdo that would go back and be like, cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I could do it over again, I totally would. I am not that girl. However, I can't go back. I can't undo it. And if I didn't learn from it and if I didn't improve because of it, then shame on me. So sometimes I sarcastically drop a thanks, cancer. But I try to be better from it.
Not to be, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but there is something to being thankful for the challenges that life has produced for us that make us stronger after we've got through them. I mean, we tend to think, well, bad about everything. And we have a motto on the morning show: enjoy the struggle, enjoy the suffering.
Yeah.
I think life is full of all sorts of good and bad, and you have to really accept that those things that are put in your way are there to teach you something and make you stronger. It may, and even if that's a lie, even if that's wrong, it's helpful to accept it and believe in it.
Well, it's a choice. It's a choice. So some people are like, oh, it happened for a reason. I do not believe that there's some magic man in the sky that looked down at me and planted a seed of doom in my boob. I don't think that happened. I think it was one cell went rogue, period, end of story. However, I can react either in a positive way or a negative way. And so, when I was going through treatment, I certainly cried every day. I'd go hide in my car, in my bathroom, I'd shut the door and I'd boo-hoo and I'd get it out and then I'd get on with it. Right. So I was choosing how to respond to that stress and that punishment I was enduring along the way. But yeah, if you come out of something like cancer and all you are is bitter, shame on you. Shame on you for not appreciating every day you have, because the whole fight with cancer is to live. So get on with it, live, right?
Yeah.
Make every day count.
I think you're going to answer this question with a no, but I have to ask it anyway. For me, if I had gone through what you had gone through, it would make me neurotic, so that I would be checking every inch of my body every day for some kind of growth. Did it have that effect on you?
So it does not. However, I found my own lump, and knowing at the pace it was moving, if I had not found it, I would be dead. There's absolutely no way I would have made it to the follow-up mammogram 11 months later, right? So I do squeeze my stuff. I've been all around the country on stages, on television. I say, put your hands out there, your hands, and then put them on your body and have a squeeze, because it is your stuff. So I do. I put my hands in my boobs a lot, and I'm constantly feeling, and I always hope I don't find anything, but I don't do it in a way in which I'm haunted. I just think, I'm just going to check, right? I do see the dermatologist every 4 months. I know what my Achilles are. It's breast cancer and it's skin cancer. And so I'm going to stay on it. And if one cancer cell shows up in my body, I want to find it right away and get rid of it. But I'm not looking over my shoulder. I don't spend any time thinking about that. I am almost July 30th. I will hit that 5 years, no evidence of disease mark, which is a very big deal. That means you're really, really unlikely to have it again. So I think I'm about 3.5 years out of treatment, but that 5-year mark for remission is a big deal. So I'm excited to get there.
Well, good for you, and congratulations, and I hope you get 50 more years, or however many more years you want. Now, coming back to what you offer people in the fitness show you have, but there was a course I wanted to talk to you about, because what I really am curious about is, I have a friend who just posted a thing on Facebook yesterday about February. He was like 350 pounds or something. And then his picture now, and this is just this February, and he's down to 180 pounds, perfectly in shape. And for me, that is a challenge that I feel like, and the comparison part of it, for me, that's something I don't think I could ever imagine myself doing that quick.
So he's claiming that he lost 60 pounds a month for 3 months, and now he's just super fit?
And the pictures, believe me, I've never seen it. He posted a picture of himself at whatever weight, 350, whatever it was. But I've never seen him look like that. He was always in shape his whole life. And then the picture now, and the picture like now is like the picture of him I've always known. I didn't know he had blown up like that. But to come back down that quickly, first of all, I think that it could possibly be unhealthy to lose that much that fast. Excuse me, my voice is gone. But I was looking for something because I saw something on your site about well, the course or the video course is 5 hours, but how long does it take to actually start seeing effects and how much time each day and all that kind of stuff?
Well, it's very personalized, right? So if you were trying to lose 5 pounds, it would probably be a lot more difficult than someone that was 4 pounds, 400 pounds trying to lose 5, right? It's all relative. It's body percentage. So yeah, that course is called Fixing Your Life with Fitness. And, you know, almost everybody, if I stood in front of an audience and I said, who would like to be richer? Every hand would go up. Almost everybody would say, yeah, I could use some extra cash. Who would like to be fitter or who would like to be leaner? Almost every hand goes up. So everybody would say, yeah, I'd like to be fitter. But most people don't know how, you know, so there's some good people that do know how and good for them. But I would say the great majority of the grown-up population is kind of confused. And so that's what that course, Fixing Your Life with Fitness, is about. It's, you know, we start off with the why. Why is fitness necessary? Why it will change every aspect of your life, not just the way your body looks, feels, and performs, but how a fitness regimen and nutritious eating and quality sleep habits, how that will affect your professional success and your personal relationships and your social status. You know, it just really has a trickle down effect where everything gets better when you start taking care of yourself. So yeah, once you start putting together strength, cardio, flexibility, balance, you start watching what you put in your mouth, gosh, you should be able to see a difference in a week. In 2 weeks, you feel a little more. And I really am skeptical about someone losing 60 pounds a month for 3 months. I'd really love to see actual.
You know what? That was my first thought too.
Yeah.
Like I thought, did somebody doctor this picture for you? Because I've never seen him like that.
Yeah. Unless he's chopping off limbs. I mean, perhaps limbs are very heavy. So if he's a legless, armless man, he might have accomplished that. But it's if you lose it doing the right thing, the right way, then you can keep it off. And so, you know, I have a real beef with these hacks, these non-professionals, people that do not have the education I have or a registered dietitian has, and they're promoting keto and they're promoting intermittent fasting and they're promoting all of these nonsense things, which are temporary measures because they're not maintainable long-term, which lead to only temporary results. And when people go on keto and they, you know, lose 30 pounds real quick, and then 6 months later, they're 40 pounds heavier than they were than when they started, it's not a win at all. And there are so many negatives that go along with a diet like that. I mean, even your breath and your crotch smell, if you're on keto, who wants that? Right.
So I did not know that.
Yes, they call it keto crotch. Ew. And then intermittent fasting is so preposterous because you're like, well, I only eat between noon and 6. I need to fast. Well, P.S. humans have a natural fast built into our life. It's called sleep. And when you wake up, there's a thing called breakfast because you are breaking the fast. You don't have to starve for the first 5 hours of your waking hours of your day to accomplish this. And really at that point, all you're doing is restricting calories. So calorie management is actually the formula for weight management. So whatever weight you want to be, you put a 0 on the end of that number. That's your caloric budget. That's as simple, stupid as it gets. If you want to weigh 150 pounds, 1,500 calories is your daily budget. If you want to weigh 200 pounds, 2,000 calories is your daily budget. If you stick with that number, your body will eventually shrink to that size, and you can stay there forever as long as you continue on with those.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but does the number of the weight number really make that much of it? Because
sure.
here's where I'm going. Because when I was big and in shape, I weighed less than when I'm smaller. but out of shape. In other words, when I went, I was in Vegas several years ago, and they went to do the zip line, and
Yeah.
turned out they 250-pound weight limit. I was 249 pounds. It's like when I was big and bulked up, I was 215 pounds. How could I be 249 pounds now?
Hey, listen, heavy is not wrong. Especially if you're a big guy, heavy is not wrong. If you're a tall woman with lots of muscles and you weigh 185, great. It's the body composition. And, if I were 185 pounds, that'd be a real problem. I'm 5'5". My body is not designed to be that large. And if I was that large, my spinal column would be punished daily. My joints would be miserable. My heart would be suffering. And so there's no way for me to be 185 and do it in a healthy way. What I encourage people to do, because some people say, what weight should I be? And that's not for me to decide. What I encourage people to do is not go to the charts, because you're right. The chart isn't accommodating for your muscle mass or your athleticism, your body fat to muscle ratio, but your fighting weight, right? So most people have said, what is your goal weight? And they go, well, I really feel great at 163. Okay. You don't need me to answer that for you. You don't need a doctor for that. I mean, if you're a diabetic or you've had heart disease, fine, go talk to your doctor and say, hey, I'm going to aim for 163. What do you think? But people know what their fighting weight is. And so let's say you set your caloric budget. I call it the exact formula for weight loss, folks. If you go to fitzness.com, right on the cover, it's an article, it's a block that says exact formula for weight loss. Just click on that. It's a much more thorough explanation. But if you choose, you want to weigh 163, your caloric budget is 1,630 calories, and then you start moving in that direction. And if you start off at 200 pounds and you're eating 1630 every day, eventually your body will shrink down because you're only feeding it enough to maintain a body size that size at 163. And then let's say you get close. Let's say you get to 170 and you think, whoa, I look gaunt. I shouldn't be this small. Okay, then stay at 170. If you get all the way down to 163 and you think, gee whiz, I have another 15 pounds I could lose, then fine, lose another 15 pounds. It's not so complicated, but we don't need to ask permission, and we don't need to ask anybody else's advice on what we should weigh. People know what their fighting weight is. And if you get to that number and you think it should be different, then change things up.
I love your energy, by the way. I really appreciate you being a guest here tonight. I think you've helped. You definitely helped me with the balance thing. That's for starters.
Oh, thank
Uh, we only have a couple minutes left here, because we've talked about diet, we've talked about exercise in their importance, but there's sleep is a part of it. You
Yes.
kind of mentioned that in passing. It's an important part of it, and I'm just wondering, like, in the order, if you start to diet better and you start to exercise, your sleep will improve. It's really hard to get the sleep stuff together if you're not doing either of those things.
So you have to work on those things. So first of all, we're going to get rid of the word diet. We're going to start eating healthy. We're never going to diet again. We're just going to start watching what we put in our mouth, eating wisely. We're going to start moving our body in those 4 different ways. And then what comes to sleep, you have to make an effort to that. So, for some folks, it's you've got to turn the screens off. Maybe you get in your hot tub. Maybe you get in a warm bath to bring yourself down. Maybe you avoid caffeine after 3 p.m. Maybe you get some good exercise in to wear your body out. Maybe you have a white noise machine in your bedroom and it's dark and you've got thick curtains so no light can get in. We have to make an effort for quality sleep. And if you do those things, you are far more likely to get a great workout and make good choices with eating, because tired people are much more likely to skip their workouts. Tired people are so much more likely to be lazy when it comes to meal preparation and meal choices. And so sleep is necessary. I totally believe in power naps. If I wake up tired at 12:30 or whatever it is, I know that if I go into the swing in my backyard, I'm in Florida, it's almost always warm. I go out there with a blanket, close my eyes. I listen to a boring podcast. That's right. I listen to a boring podcast with someone with a monotonous voice, and I will fall asleep for 20 minutes. And the rest of my day is gangbusters. Now, we're not going to listen to me, and we're not going to listen to you if we want to get to sleep, right? But there's a few folks out there that just drone on, and it's perfect for napping. So yes, quality sleep. these are my 4 ways for fitness. It's exercise, nutrition, quality sleep, and removing the cranky people. Folks, if you've got jerks in your life, get them out of your life, because it is impossible to be healthy with a miserable person making your life worse. So
Yeah.
stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Remove them.
Get rid of the toxic negative people in your
Yes.
life, but just to again support what you're saying now, even when I'm exercising after a bad night's sleep, I didn't get enough sleep, even doing the exercise, I know I'm not as capable. I bench pressing when I am in my prime, a good number I would do 400 pounds. If I had a bad night's sleep, 300 pounds was like a struggle.
Hey, you know what? What I heard is that even if you're retired, you went and exercise, and 300-pound bench presses sounds like a lot of weight.
Yeah,
And it
it
sounds like you
is.
were better off than if you would just skip the workout. So,
No, but the day after a bad sleep, you can feel it, and I'm not sure if it's mind knowing that I'm tired or
yeah,
but whatever. It definitely you see it in production, in performance,
yeah,
and
for
so.
sure.
Uh, last thing I wanted, and then I'll let you go. It says I have not read this part yet. Appear on the Fitness show. What is that all about?
Yeah, so I mean, trust me, a lot of my shows are just me ranting about fitness. And as you've heard, I can do that. And thank you so much for bringing me on to talk about this subject, because I am so passionate about it and I love helping people. So I get very motivated to talk about fitness. And that's what a lot of my shows are about. But I love bringing on interesting guests. And I have a section on fitness.com where it says appear on the fitness show. And then there's little prompts where if let's say you have had an epic comeback, physical comeback, you can write in and tell me about it. And I will have a show where I'll bring 4 different people on to give me little, and I will do little mini interviews and tell a few different tales with a few people sharing their epic comeback story. I work in the running industry and there's a lot of poop catastrophes. And let me tell you, runners love to talk about their weird poop stories, whether they have pooped in their pants while running or they have had a strange porta potty story or they got busted pooping in
You
a
know
bush,
my
whatever.
wife.
Now, mind you, I have never had one of those, but runners tend to have, I call them the poop catastrophes. So, I'm always welcoming someone to come and share a horror story because they're fun and funny. So yeah, if anybody has some great stories to share, go to fitness.com. Oh, and if you met someone exercising, if you met the love of your life at the gym or at a sporting event, I want to hear about that. So yeah, that's what that appear on the fitness show is all about. And yeah, I don't know. I love people. I love people, and sometimes they surprise you with some great anecdotes,
All
right?
right. Well, I'm a ham, and I love, and I am the ultimate challenge for a fitness expert to kind of try to fix.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll fill out the form. But in any event, I really appreciate what you've brought to the program here tonight, and I hope some people. I know you've made a fan of Stephen, and he's going to get the book
I hope
because
so.
he's been looking for something with
Oh,
all those chair exercises, and frankly, so have I. I mean, I know you can do. I'm going to be doing the balancing exercises and all that stuff, but the chair exercises are important, especially if you're somebody who works a lot at a desk, as I do, or lots of older people. To start out in the chair and just do those exercises is a good start. So
yeah,
thank
the
you so
ultimate
much.
excuse buster. And then look at me right here. I'm getting fitter just by waving my arms up and down while we talk. So it's not so complicated. I hope I can help people make a difference in their life, right?
Fitzness.com. For the people on the radio side, it's FITZNESS.com. Fitz Caller, it's been my pleasure to learn from you tonight. And I thank you very much for being here. Thanks for being here and have a great night.
Thank
And
you, Matt.
a
Bye, everybody.
continued clean bill of health. And I'll hope the best for you. So
Amen.
bye for now. Fitz Color, folks. I hope you enjoyed that talk. I sincere in that I'm going to be doing those balancing exercises at least 30 minutes to an hour every single day. She definitely helped me, which is just that part of it. The other part is I promise you, I wear pants in the morning. The evening show, I try to get a little more comfortable for it. But tomorrow morning, I will be wearing pants for the show in the morning. We have a couple of authors lined up tomorrow. First hour, we have a fantasy author, and then we have a psychotherapist who's going to be talking about mental health and her belief that mental health is the number one issue that we face in America right now. So that show will be Coffee with Dog, 9 a.m. Eastern, right here on MindDog TV. Again, I'm going to pull out that fitzness.com. Hope you go there and check that out. Thank you for being here tonight. As always, write to me at info@minddogtv.com. Let me know what you thought about the program, any questions, concerns, anything you think I got wrong, stumbled on, said the wrong thing. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, don't forget to turn on your radio. Have a great night. Bye for now.
I me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me.